In Dazar'alor, there's a troll who never buys her own drinks, because she's the last one alive, and her extinction is the warning label on the biggest reveal in Midnight. The Haranir aren't guarding a goddess, they're surviving one. In the next 10 minutes, we'll look at 3 things from the history of Azeroth. A rebellion so dangerous the Titans erased it from the survivors' memories. A world tree that Aman'Thul ripped out of the planet with his own hands, never knowing the roots were still down there, still growing, hidden from him on purpose. And a ritual, alive in Haranir right now, where the Haranir cut the connection to their own god before getting close to her. Nobody builds that ritual for a relationship they're certain is safe. Bear with me till the end because we have a lot to unpack. The Dark Trolls are extinct. That's not a theory. Blizzard put it in a character's mouth. Speaker Ignal in Dazar'alor. Last living member of the Shadowtooth clan kept by the Zandalari as a living museum piece. Her people were the recluses of ancient Kalimdor, cavern dwellers under Man'hijal who wanted nothing to do with their cousins' empires. The world barely noticed them even while destroying them. Grom Hellscream wiped out one of their settlements basically in passing. They survived exactly once, to help save the world at the Battle of Man'hijal, and their reward was annihilation in the dark. And here's why she matters. The Dark Trolls were the hinge of this entire family tree. It was Dark Trolls at the Well of Eternity who became the first Night Elves. The branch that connects Trollkind to Elfkind is down to one voice at a bar. Hold that image. Because this month, patch 12.0.7 quietly made her story everyone's story. Now here's where most lore videos would tell you the Haranir reveal is about Troll and Elf unity. That's wrong. Elun'Ahir told Zul'jahn and lor'themar that everyone in that room came from one lineage. Her actual words: "We Haranir stalked the forests of the world above. Some stayed up there, changed, splintered, became trolls and elves, so the Haranir aren't just saying we're related, they're saying they came first, and the game immediately pushes back on itself. Kindura is standing right there going, that's what Haranir say, where's the proof?" Discordia and Kitty's already covered the whole ancestry fight really well, so we're not going to relitigate that, because honestly, it's the wrong fight. The reveal was never about where this family came from, it's about what happened to every branch of it, depending on one variable, how far they walked from the source. And there's a piece of this that even the people in my comments don't know yet. And here's the detail everyone's skipping past. Deep in Haranir there's a warrior caste called the Shul'ka, and before every single fight at the Rift of Aln, they cut their own connection to their goddess. Every time. Not as some ceremony, because staying open to her, that close to where she used to be, will unmake them. So the bond with Aln'hara is the whole point of being Haranir. It's their culture, their history, their entire identity. And they build a whole cast of warriors around knowing exactly when to sever it. That's not devotion, that's a safety procedure. So who is Aln'hara? Because that name isn't a title. When the Haranir say it, it sounds like a scripture. Their elders tell it like this: before history was recorded, a song rose out of the depths of the world and called their ancestors down into the dark. And when they finally reached her cradle, she was already gone. The land in turmoil, no goddess, just roots, and a silence they've been keeping vigil over ever since. An entire civilization built around an empty cradle, and then somewhere along the way, they built a ritual to protect themselves from whatever's left in it. And for anyone about to type, there is zero evidence that Haranir ever had contact with Azeroth's soul. That song is the evidence. Something under the surface of this planet sang loud enough to pull an entire people underground forever. The only question is what? None of this is speculation. The Shul'ka, the song, the empty cradle, this is recorded. What's still ours to theorize about is what that ritual is actually protecting them from, and the answer starts with the rebellion the Titans didn't crush, they erased it. Remember that rebellion from the start of the video? The one the Titans erased? Here it is. The thraegar, earthen, Titan-forged constructs who work deep toward the world core, closer to the world soul than anyone had ever been, and she rewrote them. Not metaphorically, she prolonged exposure altered their core directives. They stopped obeying the Titans who built them. They rebelled, they attacked the world core itself, and Aman'Thul had the rebellion hunted down, and surviving earthen was stripped of their memories and purged of her influence. And the edicts exist specifically so it can never happen again. Think about what that means. We have a confirmed case for Azeroth's world soul turning someone else's creation into something with a will of its own, and the Titan response was memory erasure at civilizational scale. Now look back at the Shul'ka, cutting the bond before approaching the source. That is the exact same containment logic the Titans invented for the thraegar: cut the connection or lose control of what you're becoming. Two peoples, two eras, one world soul, one identical solution. Blizzard has written that protocol twice now, and patterns written twice are patterns written on purpose. Now the tree, because this is the one nobody's connecting. Patch 10.2, Blizzard planted a book in the Emerald Dream, the legend of Elun'Ahir, the first world tree, planted by Aln'hara herself during the war against the Black Empire, grown from a branch of Haranir that Elun gave her. Its roots ran deep, and everywhere they stretched, new life emerged, and Aman'Thul looked at it and lost his mind. Listen to what he says. This is not order. You have infected this world with uncontrollable chaos. And then the High Father of the Pantheon grabbed the first world tree by the trunk and ripped it out of the planet. But here's the line that matters. Aena looked into the crater and realised the roots had survived, hidden from Aman'Thul's gaze, and she never told him. A Titan-level cover-up written into an in-game book. The legend ends on one sentence. Much later, mysterious guardians arrived who dedicated their lives to protecting the roots. But that is a tale for another time. Blizzard wrote that in 2023. Midnight is the other time. The roots of every world tree on Azeroth converge at Haranir. Well, almost everyone. Vordrassil, the tree corrupted by Yogg-Saron, is a single exception. Its roots don't reach Haranir anymore, because they were deliberately severed once the corruption spread too deep. There's even a Haranir sitting on the fallen trunk right now, up in Grizzly Hills, so stop and look at what that network actually does. The connection goes bad, it gets cut. Sound familiar? That's 3 times now. The Shul'ka, the thraegar, the rootways themselves. The network doesn't just grow, it amputates. And the network they converge onto is almost certainly Elun'Ahir's, older than every civilization in this video, older than the Sundering, hidden from the King of the Titans himself. The Haranir aren't gardeners, they're the guardians of Aenar's secret, which means the people living closest to the world's salt for their entire existence have been doing it inside the one root system Aman'Thul never knew survived, soaking in her generation after generation with no Titan oversight at all. The thraegar got decades near the World Core before they turned. The Haranir have had millennia. The only thing standing between them and the same fate might be the ritual from the start of this video. A good theory earns its ending, so here's exactly what would kill this one. If Aln'hara isn't Azeroth, half the stakes collapse, and nowhere in the confirmed text does Blizzard say she is. That equivalence is all over the community write-ups like it's settled. It isn't. There's even competing read that she was an elemental lord of spirit the world soul later absorbed. If the Elun'Ahir story is just a story, the whole tree chapter wobbles. And to be fair, the book itself admits some call it merely a legend. The book is real, it's in the game, and you can go and read it. Whether the events in it happened the way it says, that part's implied, not confirmed. If you look at the wiki, it calls the Haranir the likely guardians, and likely isn't the same word as proven. This channel doesn't pretend otherwise. The other honest thing, the Dark Trolls were not killed by distance from the source. They were murdered by a cult. The Twilight's Hammer slaughtered the Shadowtooth in their caves. The pattern of live and wither is real across this family, but for Igna's people specifically, cause of death was violence, not cosmology. Correlation is not a burial rite. Her loneliness supports the pattern's shape. It doesn't prove its mechanism. The ancestry direction is a mess too. A scrapped alpha mural said Haranir first. The art book runs the arrow the other way, and the dialogue that actually shipped does something stranger than both. It makes a claim, then doubts itself in the same scene. Hagar says it, Kinduru questions it, both are canon. Anyone selling you certainty there is selling you something. Now what we've been building to. Both times something grew close to this world's old, the tree that fed on her depths. The earthen worked beside her core, it was the same hand that destroyed him. Aman'Thul ripped out Elun'Ahir for growing outside order. Aman'Thul purged the thraegar for being rewritten outside order. Once is a character beat, twice is doctrine. The High Father of the Pantheon has a policy about things that get too close to Azeroth's soul, and the Haranir have spent their entire existence being exactly that thing, hidden inside the one root system he never knew survived, in the one place he never thought to look. Let's track the rest of the family by the same variable, distance from the deep places. The elves, 2 transformations removed, fractioned into 7 different societies and counting. The surface trolls, 1 step removed, fractioned into empires that never recovered. The dark trolls, extinct but for 1 woman in a foreign place. The Haranir, 0 steps removed, 1 culture, 1 council, 1 unbroken purpose. The further from the source, the more the family splintered. The branch that never left, never broke. The old gods have always acted with more free will than servants of the Void Lords should. Nothing in the text says why, but the thraegar prove the mechanism exists. Closeness to her produces independent will in beings that were never hers. Whether that explains the old gods is genuinely open. You can fight about that in the comments. Here's what can be said with confidence. A confirmed common ancestry. A goddess with a name older than her worshippers, gone before they arrived. A confirmed case of this world's soul rewriting a people who got too close. A legend of a hidden root network older than the Sundering. And a ritual that treats a goddess like something that needs a failsafe. What nobody can say yet is whether the ritual is devotion, precaution, or the only thing standing between the Haranir and what happened to the thraegar. So let's end where we started. The last Dark Troll sits in a tavern in Dazar'alor, the final voice of a branch that connected this entire family, kept as a memento of a people never really protected. The Haranir watched every branch of their kin scatter, fracture, forget, and in her case die. Their answer was to never leave, never forget, and build an entire warrior caste around knowing exactly when to let go of their god. I'm not telling you what to think, But nobody keeps a vigil for 10,000 years unless they believe somewhere deep in the roots that leaving is what kills you. So here's today's debate. Option 1, staying saved them. Proximity preserved the Haranir, and the Shul'ka ritual works, and Ignal's people are proof of what leaving costs. Option 2, proximity is the threat, not the shield. The Haranir are one bad day at the Rift from the thraegar's fate, and the last Dark Troll drinking alone got the better ending of the two. Drop your theories in the comments. Coming soon, I'm going to have a deep dive on the Earth Mother, which builds the Torrent's case around this same world soul. If this deep dive opened your eyes, hit that like button and subscribe, because this family story isn't finished, and the next chapter is already sitting in the 12.1 files. To everyone who made it all the way to the end of this one, cheers. I'll see you in Azeroth.